Hello, everyone. I am Ricky Rivera, and this is Eric Adinsky, and we're talking about the big changes to our game system primer and our upcoming beta with the release of these changes. So, Zarek, why don't you go ahead and jump in?
Yeah, we're really excited to bring everybody the beta for the 2.0. This is something we haven't done before, but I think just from lessons we've learned, it just makes sense. This 2.0 is going to be in beta. The way that you can get access to beta and involve yourself and make changes is by going to our Discord. A lot of these changes in this 2.0 update are because of all the interaction from our playtesters. They're just awesome, really. We want to thank them very much. We're going to have a link in the description for the Discord sign up or join. And then this beta, like I said, we're going to be leaving it at 2.0 whenever it goes live. So with that beta, it's going to be maybe a month or 2 months. And then once we get all the feedback and iron out any kinks, little things here and there, maybe some balance updates, we're going to be pushing this onto Drive-Thru RPG. That's something we
Yes.
shared on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be available for purchase. The soft cover, just like the Primer 1.1, this soft cover on Drive-Thru and Amazon, actually, we're going to do.
Yeah, looking at Amazon
Uh,
as well, make it easier for more people to get access to it. So.
yeah, so that's where you'll get your physical book. We're also going to have a sign up link for our newsletter down below, and that's where you'll be able to get your free beta. This is a completely free document for the digital PDF, and it's huge, especially with the changes to the 2.0, as we're going to discuss. Lots of new changes, lots of improvements and additions.
Yeah, yeah. Been hard
Um,
at work all summer on this, making it be even better. And again, just a personal thank you to all of our play testers. It's meant the world to us to have multiple folks just interested in our game, giving us great, feedback. We've been talking to a lot of different kind of YouTubers and things like that, and just being able to get some great feedback from them as well, playing our game. So it's been fun, and really, it's just the beginning. We're looking for more and more of this, more interaction, building our Discord community. So, making sure that you sign up, making sure, that you go out there and you take a look at this, play it amongst your friends and so on, and reach out to us, right? We love that. We have multiple people who are already starting games, and we're not there, and it's really, really cool to just, sit and wait and then receive that information and get even better for you. So all about just having fun here. So really excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been amazing. And we definitely, again, I know we both already said it, but we thank all of our playtesters so much. We've had some great feedback, people doing deep dives and just like combing through everything. So it's been really awesome to see that. So yeah, some of the just kind of overview. One of the big improvements you'll see right away is there's quite a few sections of the book that got an improvement with their layout. A lot of our tables and stuff like that just we've added some coloration there just to kind of help with readability. The power set pages, they used to be smushed onto one page. Now every single power set takes up 2 pages. So there's a lot more breathing room. The text is bigger, so you can read the powers much easier. And then another big one is the threats. We'll talk a bit more about those later in the video, but we've really cleaned up and updated the design of every stat block. It's less like a table out of Excel. We got a lot more pizzazz and kind of what's the word, like attitude or
Stylistic choices, that makes it just a
yeah.
lot easier to dive in, especially from a comic editor standpoint. You just want to know what this boss does really quickly and do it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Other big things with threats, we've added a couple more. I think we originally had, what was it, 28 or 30 total. We're now at 36 in the game system primer. So we're really, really excited for that, because what it does is we've also focused on our elites and bosses at every level. So that way, between level 1 and 5, you actually have a boss or an elite that a whole mission arc can take place around, making it a lot easier for a comic editor to say, okay, they've had a lot of different interactions, they've had some social things, they've had some, environmental exploration, and then here's a combat, here's the big boss, that this has all been leading up to. So it makes it so much easier to go in there and really build around that. The one big organization change as well is the goons, or they're not a goon squad, but they are basically, they used to be NPCs, just that was their organization name. And we felt like that didn't really make sense. We kept taking out some goon stats and using them with our bolters, or even our blood syndicate, and we just kept on moving them around, and they were kind of like you slapped on a new flag for them, and they represented whatever gang they were in, just to fill the roster for that particular encounter. So the goons became their own thing, and they have a lot better designed to be a little bit more supportive, or to have a couple folks that can be more kind of like mobster related, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you put them in an organization, they're going to help really with an encounter, make it feel more natural in a way for any missing areas.
Yeah, and like you said, instead of just being NPCs, they're an organization of their own, but they're kind of just like drag and drop bad guys, like
Yeah.
criminal, that sort of thing. So yeah, they have their own bit of flavor, but it's mild that way. Like Ricky said, just slap a patch or a flag on them and call them a bolter or a blood syndicate crew member, stuff like that. Also creatures, we did remove creatures. That was a previous org, if you will, or organization. So we pulled that away, and the gloop glops that used to be under there. And then a really big one was what were they called? The primates, the enhanced primates.
Oh,
They've
yes.
become their own whole new species, and their own organization and group as well.
Yeah.
And we removed all the zombies. That's another one. Removed the zombies. Well, I say removed, really, they became thrall.
They always were,
Yeah, they
yeah.
pretty much were. And like
Yeah.
our universe's version of zombies is the thrall. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have a zombie infection. What that is the thrall fungal parasite infection.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we wanted to make it more, in universe. Zombies in the game system primer were just like to just be generic zombies, and we just didn't like that feeling. So wanted to make sure that the thralls and thrallites and so on, how they take over people, it's kind of zombie-esque in many ways, but they are a parasite that's just in the minds of their hosts. And then the primates changing over to the Velorn. We're very much big Halo fans. We love the brutes of Halo and things like that, and that kind of like jived with us, that we wanted something kind of similar. That they're an organization that very shamanistic, use totems, things like that. They're kind of tribe-like, but the big thing is they discovered how to go out there and travel in space all on their own, and they want to actually go in and get resources from all other planets and things like that. So they do not mind being in wars. They do not mind fighting. That is what they're all about. So we really, really like that it brought on a brand new organization that is ours, our own kind of Indominant universe organization. So really, really excited for that.
We changed advantage and disadvantage. That is now dominance and weakness, which is our own unique system. Maybe somebody's thought about something like this before, we just haven't seen it, but pretty much it's a stacking bonus you get, and dominance is the positive beneficial one. And the first time you get a stack of dominance, it'll be D4, it'll go D6, D8, D10, D12, all the way to D20. So max is 6 stacks. And yeah, it actually also adds to your crit chance in a way, because you add the value of that bonus die to the face value of your D20. So if you roll like a 16 on your D20, and then a 4 on like your D4 or D6, that would become a natural 20 and it would crit. And of course, if you go above 20 as well, you would also crit. If you get like a 24 somehow, or you would get a crit, and it's just been super awesome. We've done some play testing with it for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, really, that was Ricky drove that change, so really cool one.
Yeah, it's one of our pillars is strategic combat. right? And we want that teams work together to apply additional dominance. And what we've done is made sure that our status effects as well match what is giving somebody dominance, right? So if they've actually put multiple status effects on a target, they are able to stack those layers of dominance, making it easier and easier to hit the target or deal, critical damage and so on. So it really feels more superhero. It feels more like heroic in a way. And when you gain weakness, that's the opposite back, right? So you are becoming even weaker to hit things or anything like that. So we're really, really excited about that change, and it's been, again, like Zarek said, super fun to implement. Another big one, just to jump in here, is injury levels. So we found that when a super gets down, right, brought all the way to 0 HP and brought back up, it didn't really feel that like bad. It really, like, they kind of just got back up again, and we wanted to make sure that when somebody gets back up again, there is a tie directly to their combat stats. So looking at their effectiveness of attack modifier, control modifier, and things like that, that every time they get back up, they earn an injury level. They are now have -1 to all of those combat stats except for HP, max HP, as well as, I believe, shield points. So making sure that all the rest of it, like still their movement then is dropping. Their, again, like I said earlier, with their attack mod and their damage modifier is dropping by 1 every time they get hit back down and brought back up again. And again, we've made sure it's very clear in our primer that it takes advanced treatment to actually get rid of injury levels, especially once you get higher up in those high injury levels. We want to make sure that it's not just an easy thing to get rid of.
Yeah, with the change from them just kind of having a specific effect at each level to now injury levels just reducing all of your combat stats, like you said. And then we also added, and this will jump into the next one, but part of what Ricky said where you get more injury levels is because of the death and dying rules that have changed and how injury levels interact with being downed and then becoming dead. So previously you would get negative health when you would get downed. When you're downed, you're in a kind of like a weakened state. You can still do something on your turn. They're just very minor. But you would always get an injury level, and then now when you take damage, instead of getting negative health, if you remain down, you're going to get more injury levels. And then dying is just tied to injury levels instead of like this whole negative health complex system. So you just go to 0, you can get healed back up, but you'll still have gained an injury level. And then if you get to 6, you die. If you get to 5 injury levels, you're incapacitated, knocked out, can't really do anything. And then you need advanced treatment, like Ricky said, and your friends, your allies need to carry you to safety at that point. If you remain at 5 too long, even, you'll die. So it's very impactful now. You can get them a little bit faster because you can take damage while you're down and gain additional injury levels. So it just makes things a lot more threatening. You still don't want to let people get down ever.
Yeah, it's important for us to make sure Indominant, our supers, they aren't a traditional comic book like overly blown god mode superhero. They do have a capacity to be downed and to die, and that's why you do have to be strategic. You have to work together because guess what? On the other end, the threats of the universe, they are deadly. They're going for your lunch. So we wanted to make sure those rules do kind of stack up to that and make it so you want to stay up as much as possible. Another thing to jump in here is also we've changed what was called backgrounds. So when you create a super, you would select a background that basically tells you, where have you been, right? Who have you been in your past? And we didn't always love that. It was fun to have it, but we felt more compelled to, well, what's their calling? We've changed the terminology to calling. Their calling meaning that what are they doing about it now? What are they doing with their powers now? What is it that now that they're equipped, they're ready to go, they've gotten the technology to blast fire or whatnot, what are they called to do? Are they called to be a hero? Are they called to be an entrepreneur and be a suit? What do they want to be? So it felt a lot more natural in that way, and when you're building your character, your super, you can actually write that out and say, okay, I'm called to do this, this is what I'm about.
Yeah, it's a good change. Sometimes it would get confusing with the backgrounds because it was like your history, but also what you do now. So we've just found callings, you're a superhero, so let's focus on what you are now. Your background still matters and stuff, but not necessarily in the same way. So yeah, we just wanted to focus on what you do now that you have superpowers.
Another one that actually, and it's funny because this is one me and Derek were like, I didn't quite understand. In fact, I never even really played it very well, and that is defining what a ground effect is and a damage over time effect is when a power is, built in such a way. There are a lot of powers that have area effect. And they stay on the ground for a while. And as a result of that, we wanted to make sure that powers are labeled as such that they are damage over time or that they are ground effects, as well as how it interacted with our damage reduction rules. We wanted to make sure that damage over time, so when somebody gets poisoned, it skips damage reduction because it feels bad if you've been able to poison somebody or set them on fire, that your entire damage is kind of soaked up from that damage reduction. Meanwhile, what about shields? Well, shields were meant to be something that was in front of your health points to prevent additional damage before it actually hit your health points, right? Those vital, crucial health points. So ground effects, what they do is they do ignore the damage reduction, but they're going to hit your shield points first. So you can imagine a shield coming up and a fire is kind of like burning off the shield before it actually hits your health points, right? Simple kind of analogy there. What thoughts are that for you, Zeric?
Yeah, and a lot of it too was adding clarity. So we added language, like you mentioned, to all the powers where it'll say if it's a damage over time effect or if it's a ground effect. Because before we described them and defined them, but then we wouldn't really say this one right here is a damage over time. It would just be, oh, you're burning and you're taking damage at the start of every turn. Well, that's damage over time, but we just weren't very explicit. So we added language for clarity. And that way it can be something that you really think about when you see it. You say, oh, damage over time. Okay, I read that, and this is what it does.
Skills was a big one. So in role-playing games, there's often a big old list of skills, and we found that our skill list just wasn't enough. I think we had 15, right, originally, and a lot of them were very general, or they didn't quite capture the thing that we wanted them to capture, or they capture too much, to be quite frankly. So with that, what we did is we've added to that list a total of 20, and we've done a lot of renaming. So we've added things like, instead of just technology skill, there's now both engineering and electronics. Engineering being more about hacking into something, and the electronics being more about hacking into something, and engineering being more about controlling something mechanical, making something move or whatnot, especially like a construction arm or something like that.
Right.
So it really helped us split up a lot of things. I think there's a couple of big ones that you really liked as well, Zarek, that we've added in.
Yeah, piloting is a big one. We never really had any skill that worked for controlling a vehicle. It doesn't necessarily have to be flying a plane or a spaceship, but driving a car, stuff like that. If you're in like a chase, I know it sounds kind of funny for like supers, but as we mentioned, our supers aren't like the Flash, where they literally can just like blink and be somewhere. Maybe they'll find themselves where they need to travel in a group, and some are faster than others, and so you're riding in a vehicle, and maybe you end up in like a car chase. Well, you're going to use piloting. So yeah, we just added a lot more specificity to the skills. There's like a lot of overlap, like you had mentioned. There's science and medicine, which could kind of overlap. Like technology was really general. So yeah, just added for clarity, and with how our skills level up, and how having more skills to use and them being more specific. We did also change how much experience you need for skills to level up, because with more skills means you're going to spread that skill experience, which is how, when you use skills, you're going to get better at them and gain skill experience. So because there's more skills, you're going to gain less experience in each skill. So we reduce the amount you need. That way, certain campaigns or mission arcs, you might not use piloting, but when you use it, you want to actually feel like you're getting better at it. So that was kind of really what we wanted to capture. And along with that, we did change also to level up your actual super. We reduced that from 20 to 10, and we reduced the experience gain for your character level. We cut that in half as well. So it works the same. We just didn't want a bunch of different numbers to remember when it came to, oh, how many experience do I need when I level up versus my skills, etc. So just trying to keep things in line there.
Yeah, and
And
with more skills too, we added 3 categories of skills as well. So a lot of the more action-oriented kind of skills, something where you actually have to physically do something, essentially they become actionable as a category. And then the rest that are more like science-based, right? Biology, chemistry, that kind of thing, they're more informational. So they're called an informational category. And finally, social. So civics, deception, insight checks, things like that, they all have been wrapped in social as well. So really exciting stuff. It allows us to play with them as categories more, and work into how could somebody be better at a category of skills, that kind of thing as well. So
yeah, also helps kind of inform you what that skill might be used for. Just helps with a little bit of clarity there. Um, yeah, that's a good thing. I forgot about that little caveat there.
all good, all good.
And then with tying back into supers levels, we did change how you get your stat increases. Before we were getting 2 at every 4th level. We just split that. So now every 2nd level or every even level, you're gaining 1. So it's a bit smoother. You're not waiting as long to get those stat points, but you get less when you get them. Overall, total numbers are the same. You just get them a bit faster,
Yeah.
more often.
Yeah, we noticed it was just a little lower, right? Every even level just seemed like you didn't get as much. So now this is additional thing that just fans it up, right? It makes you like more compelled to like, okay, we can keep on moving and gain a lot more at that level up. So another big thing that we did add was power tags. So this was on all the powers for the supers powers themselves, and this was a big move for us. Zarek and I are very much kind of like a tag focused, very detail focused. As a result of that, we love looking at big, tables of data and things like that. And tagging our powers allows us to do a couple things when somebody actually wants to go and look up a specific power. Perhaps if something is, more of an area effect, or if something is a specific targeted power, they're able to actually see that at the headline tag of the actual power itself. Versus I have to read, a little bit of a paragraph or whatnot, depending on how big the power is, to actually figure out if it's an area effect. So then when they have a talent that's associated with area of effects, or when they have a talent that's associated with ranged or melee, or they are just a melee-based archetype, for instance, they can quickly identify, okay, this is maybe a power that I'd like to actually pursue because it goes better with what I imagine for my super, what I want to build for my super. I know this was a big one for you, Zarek. Any more on that one?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think something to mention too is they don't have any mechanical things tied to them. Um, sometimes other systems will do that where if it says like, powerful or something like that, or uh, some kind of term, it's like you have to go look that up to know what it does. These are purely informational. That way, like Ricky said, so you can more quickly determine what every power does. You can just kind of glance through, kind of skim, and you'll see, okay, that one's melee, that one's melee. This one's range, this one's area, this one heals, stuff like that. Yeah, it does let us do some interesting things too with talents. We can or like add effects to specific types of powers using tags. But yeah, mostly informational. Like I said, every power is going to have all the mechanics in the power, unless it's like a base rule, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then related to powers is the 4 power sets that we've added. So we've so far had 6
Big
power
one.
sets in. Yeah, this is a really big one. We've had all 10 power sets done for a very long time, done needing some edits and stuff, of course, but we decided to keep some of these kind of tucked away for the full core rule books, but we've just been like I'm always antsy. I'm like, oh, this person's describing like electricity or weapon mastery or martial arts, and they can't use it because we don't have it there for them to use. And so we just really felt like it's important to let people see all the cool stuff we've got in the game. Um, and yeah, so we've added electricity, gadgetry, martial arts, and weapon mastery.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'll double down on that, right? Like a lot of different play tests, we were using just the primers, powers, and folks just wanted to jump in on with these other power sets that were, again, like Zerk said, they were ready, So with that, I'm really excited that we can bring all of our powers as a sample, really, adding more value to the primer itself, showing you the full length of what you could actually combo off, and that also includes all of their talents as well. So mixing and matching, weapon mastery with Arbiter, for instance, now you have all those talents that are available as well. And talking on talents, we specifically looked at Arbiter, their tier 1 talents. We found a very much that most of them were almost identical. They were all the same. And we didn't like that. We wanted anybody who picked up if there was 5 Arbiters on the same team, for instance, that they could all pick different talents and feel different. They could work differently. So we made a major overhaul over the Arbiter's Tier 1 talent. And that comes in at level 2. So you immediately are seeing a difference right away after your first level up. So that was really, really exciting. It also gives us a big push forward in looking at all of our talents as we go to eventually having our big books that have all the way up to level 20 and all the talents up to tier 10 talents. So really excited for that.
Yeah, that one really the idea and concept behind the previous tier 1 talents. We also made some changes to tier 2, but not as much. But the tier 1 talents, they're designed to give the Arbiter a way to be a support character, because that's what the Arbiter is. Even if you're using fire, we want you to be able to support your allies and heal them. And previously, like Ricky said, they just all were kind of the same. It was like, oh, you can heal with your powers now. And so it wasn't really that interesting. And so we've really changed them where you get one that's almost like its own power. It costs drive just like a power too. And then you get one option this is for every power set. You get one option that is a way to kind of add healing to specific types of powers, or not just healing, but support effects. And then the third will be some sort of unique option. It's not always supportive. It might be utility, it might be offensive, things like that, but just a lot more fun, really. They're just so much more interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And they achieve the same goals. We wanted to give everybody the option to pick one of these things and just make it feel cool and interesting.
A lot of fun. Yeah, and towards the back of the book, we have tools for comic editors, specifically for threats. So we took a look at the threats as a whole for our whole game, and we wanted to add something more to it. We both of us wanted to actually provide tactics or ways that threats could work together or fight on in a battlefield, and came up with rules, threat rules. So these are another form of informational tags. Really, really fun to be able to design these, but they allow the comic editor to look and see, okay, this threat group that these supers are going to face, they need a disruptor here that's going to come in and disrupt them. It's going to really mess them up, while somebody else is going to come on down and perhaps be somebody who's going to go and mess them up, being a breaker or a sharpshooter from afar. So it's really exciting because those different kind of roles easily allow a comic editor to jump in on them. This was a big one for you, Zarek, and led a lot of the definitions on them. You want to maybe talk about some of them?
Yeah, so before, you'd have to read through a threat's powers and like stats to kind of know what they were good at, stuff like that. So a similar thought process as the power tags, just not quite as detailed in a way, but they just tell you what types of things to expect from that threat. So like Ricky mentioned, their sharpshooter, that's going to instantly tell you, okay, they have long range, they're probably good at like single target damage, things like that. We have a flanker, going to be sneaky mobile threats. Breaker, they're going to do good area damage, disrupt the field. We've got leader, support, brute. I think that might be all. Disruptor actually is one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another way to kind of inform the user, the player, because even the comic editor is a player. So we want to inform them about their side of the game and just kind of make their life easier. You can quickly read the threat's name, and underneath you're going to see their role and their organization, everything like that, which is part of the redesign of the threat stat blocks. So
Yeah.
before they were really simple, just kind of like Excel table, if you will. Um, I did the layout and stuff myself early on, and that was like the first thing I'd ever done was making the primer 1.0 and 1.1. And so I really had been looking around and learning a lot, and we figured that they needed to look a lot cleaner, a lot better, and just
Yeah.
yeah.
With that said, I think that's about everything. We've made so many little minor tweaks and whatnot. We wanted to just be high level. But again, we can't say this enough on this. We're super excited. We are running full steam ahead. What this primer will allow us to do is to get more folks with hands on our game to be able to play it, give us feedback, have fun with it, and to expand it even more. And as we look towards the future, we look to 2025. That's where we're going to do a lot more. As Eric and I have already written out our core rule books, like it's all in text, it's all there. But now it's all about just the polishing, and so on, right? And making sure it all looks good as we go into hopefully soon in the early months of 2025, trying to pull towards backer kit. So we're really, really excited for that. But we'll see how it goes. Any last closing thoughts, Eric?
No, just yeah, get your sign up for the newsletter, get your own beta. Like you said, also another thing we're gonna have in the description is a link to our backer kit page, so you can go follow our backer kit. As Ricky said, that's gonna be coming out or launching early next year, and really we're gonna start doing a big push again now to be more active. We're gonna do more YouTube videos that are just informative to help all of the players just kind of learn more about Indominant
Yes.
straight from us. And yeah, growing our community. And we're going to be doing a beta process with the core rulebooks as well. Just like Ricky said, we want to polish those up. So after our backer kit, we're going to start getting the documents ready for everybody to start doing sort of a play testing beta stage on those, which is everything above level 5. So that's what we're really going to focus on there. And yeah, I can't wait for that. That's what this has all been leading up to.
A lot of fun. Awesome. Well, thank you as always. Thank you so much, playtesters. Thank you, Discord community. And thank you, everyone here. Hope you have a good one. We can't wait to meet your super.
Thank you. Have a good day.